The Aral Sea, once the world's fourth largest inland lake, was located between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. It was a breathtaking natural wonder, home to vibrant ecosystems, thriving fisheries, and busy port towns. But today, much of it has turned into a desert. The question is, why did the Aral Sea dry up and become a wasteland? The beginning of the problem, in the 1960s, during the Soviet Union era, massive irrigation projects were launched. The Soviet government wanted to grow cotton and rice on a huge scale to boost the economy. To achieve this, water from the two main rivers feeding the Aral Sea, the Amu Darya and the Syr Darya, was diverted into canals and fields. At first, this seemed like a success. Cotton production increased, and the Soviet Union became one of the top cotton exporters in the world. But what no one realized was that the sea itself was dying. The shrinking of the Aral Sea, as more and more water was taken from the rivers, less and less water reached the Aral Sea. By the 1980s, the sea had already shrunk dramatically. Islands became deserts, and the water level fell by dozens of meters. What was once a vast blue sea turned into separate smaller lakes, and eventually most of it dried up completely. Environmental disaster. The drying of the Aral Sea caused one of the worst man-made environmental disasters in history. The sea's fisheries collapsed, leaving thousands of people jobless. Towns that once had ships and ports were left stranded in the desert, with rusting boats sitting on dry land. The exposed seabed turned into a toxic desert. Winds carried salt, sand, and chemical residues from fertilizers and pesticides across hundreds of kilometers. This caused massive health problems such as lung diseases, cancer, and birth defects in local communities. Climate impact. The disappearance of the sea also changed the region's climate. Summers became hotter and drier, while winters became colder and harsher. The natural balance of the ecosystem was destroyed. Attempts to save the Aral Sea. In recent decades, Kazakhstan has tried to save the northern part of the Aral Sea by building dams and restoring water flow. Thanks to these efforts, a small portion of the sea has returned, bringing back fish and life to some areas. However, the southern part in Uzbekistan remains mostly a desert, known today as the Aralkum Desert. Conclusion: the story of the Aral Sea is a lesson for humanity. It shows how short-term economic gains can lead to long-term environmental disasters. It reminds us that nature must be protected and water must be managed wisely, or else we may lose more treasures like the Aral Sea.